Hey guys, it's Harry Duffy with the Ohio Brush Troll. So we have another issue with the Honda Odyssey minivan. My wife went out to start it and all she was getting was a click, click, click. So starter's out on it. These are kind of back-to-back videos. I don't know if you saw the rear pads rotors one, but yeah, this will be another video on the Honda Odyssey. Not a mulching video. This is most definitely not a equipment maintenance video. It is on a 2005 Honda Odyssey, but we'll see if I can get it to act up so you guys can kind of see what it's doing. So there we go, it's doing it. Just getting a click, click, click. I don't know if you guys can hear it in here, but just clicking. And if you cycle the key enough times, come on, baby. Well, now it's not even clicking. But yeah, it's not even clicking now. So it's a starter, needs a starter. That clicking noise is the starter solenoid on it trying to engage, and usually it just gets locked up. And so I'm going to do an extremely fast video on replacing a starter on a 2005 Honda Odyssey with the 6-cylinder in it. So yeah, stay tuned. All right, guys. So like I said, starter went out. It's always something. I can tell you what, this past month has been pretty rough. If you guys have watched my the Honda Odyssey brake pads video, that kind of explains it all. But yep, if it's not something, it's something else, seems like. But it's okay, we'll take it a little bit at a time and just get it done. On these Honda Odysseys 6-cylinder, your starter is straight down here. Here's your battery, this is your engine cover. Try and let you guys see it. Yeah, I don't know how good that'll come out, but it is straight down right there. So what I'm gonna do, pop the engine cover off, just give me a little bit more room. It's just a couple of these push pins. Pop the battery out, then I'll actually take the battery tray out, and that'll give me plenty of room right there to work with. So I'll get you guys set up the best as possible, and we'll go from there. Pop the cover off, take off your battery hold downs. Should be 10s, 10 millimeters. Most Hondas are held together with 10 millimeters, 12 millimeters, and plastic clips. So battery hold downs have little J hooks on them. They just go down and you spin them into a hole and they hook on there. So pretty simple. When I'm putting this thing back together, I'll most definitely clean these battery terminals up with my wire brush. I have fixed many Hondas, many, really anything and everything, just by cleaning battery terminals, so everything's getting good voltage. So very easy thing to do, but can cause you a lot of problems if you don't. All right, a little 10 millimeter right here, pop that out. There we go. Another 10 up here in this corner. pop whole assembly out. It's been a while since I worked at Honda, so cut me a little bit of a break. Mainly work on diesel trucks now. Diesel trucks, diesel equipment. Oh, come on. There we go. There's two little plastic clips. Hold this little cover on. Gotta take those off so you can gain access to a couple of these bolts for this battery tray. All right, 10mm right here. I remember now. I don't believe you can take this thing out without taking the battery tray loose. It's pretty much you position it so you can get to, take that 10mm out. You position this plenum so you can get to that 12 down there. Got a 12 here. They got two 12s going in this way. One right there. I don't know if you guys can see it down in that hole down there. And then there's one on the front hand side. Those are actually slotted holes, so you don't have to take those 12s, the lower 12s, all the way out. You do have to take these ones all the way out, and then the battery tray should pick up off there. Got this 10, and this wiring harness, this blue clip. I'm trying. You just release it by hitting this little plastic clip. But yeah, pull that off. All that, gotta get those 12s. Gotta have your Milwaukee. Love these things. Swivel sockets are real nice to have for this kind of stuff, but you can still get them with straight sockets. So let's get this guy first. There's one. There's two. I don't know how good you guys can see down there, but there's 12, a little wrench on it. Like I said, this bolt does not have to come all the way out. It should be slotted on the actual battery tray itself. So you should just have to loosen it. Probably about 3-4 turns, full turns. And you should be good. All right. Little Christmas tree clip right here. Wide, break those usually. So this is what I'm talking about. That back bolt is slotted, so you don't have to take it all the way out. And just leave it in there. Battery tray sits in there like this. So this is your actual starter assembly, starter motor. This is your starter solenoid, little guy beside it. This is your signal wire. Comes in and activates the solenoid. This is your main power going in from the battery. So yeah, this cable literally goes straight from the battery to the starter. So all that signal wire does is activates that relay and pretty much switches it and sends power to the starter motor. The starter motor is grounded through the engine block, so there's no ground wire or anything like that. So very simple circuit, but there should be, trying to get you guys down in here, should be one bolt here, 17mm, And yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to show you the one on the bottom, but should be a 17mm on the bottom also. Again, I like Napa parts. Don't have to use Napa, but they're all over close around me, so I like Napa for warranty reasons and everything else. Just 2 bolt holes. This is the new starter. That's the top one, that's the lower one. So we'll get the old one out and get this new one in, and hopefully get my wife back on the road and happy again, so I can move on to my countless other projects. I don't know if you watch my other videos, but I'll kind of walk you through my projects real quick, which they're growing, which is not good. So I got the stump grinder in the garage for the forestry mulching machine. Forestry mulching machine needs some welding done on it. I'm actually meeting a kid out here. He's a professional welder. Hopefully he's decent. Meeting him out here later today for him to look at my welding projects. I'm not set up to weld equipment and stuff. I have a little MIG welder in the garage, but I'm not set up to weld equipment, so I would much rather just pay somebody that does a good job. So, stump grinder. My Ford Flex broke down. I showed you that in my last video in the Honda Odyssey brake pad video, how to replace Honda Odyssey brake pads. My Ford Flex broke down, so I'm fixing my Super Duty up to become my daily driver. Need some exhaust work, so I will have a video on the stump grinder, getting that together. Most of the parts are here, waiting on a couple seals. I will have a video on the Super Duty, doing some modifications on that, exhaust work, putting a leveling kit on it, and putting a pretty nice brush guard on it. What else? You're watching the video on the Honda Odyssey starter right now. That's another project. Just brought this thing home. My wife had to drive me up to northeastern Ohio, and we got a chipper truck and a chipper. Most likely I'm going to keep the chipper truck. I'm actually we'll be getting the rest of the video on us going up and grabbing it. I'll be getting that together probably later tonight, so that'll actually be posted here soon. But yeah, gotta get all this stuff gone through and see what all it needs and get it fixed so I can start using it. What else? That's it right now, other than the Ford Flex. I believe a starter went out, or I believe a turbo went out on that thing. It started smoking real bad going down the freeway. White, blue smoke, smells like burning oil. So I gotta look into what is causing that. So I'm just absolutely buried right now with repairs, maintenance, and like I said, if you watch the other videos, you know my wife was in an accident, so it's just a real struggle right now trying to get everything together. But I appreciate you guys watching, and yeah, let's get back to this starter on 2005 Honda Odyssey. Like I said, I really like swivel sockets. Most of my stuff that I have is Snap-on. Here's a Craftsman, but most of my stuff is Snap-on. If you buy real cheap swivel, first off, they fall apart. Second off, they're prone to rounding bolts off, and ultimately it just cause you all kinds of headaches and stuff. So decent set of swivels, Snap-on, Mac, Cornwell, something like that, be a good investment if you're doing this kind of work often. If you're not, then Harbor Freight stuff would probably work just fine. Let's get you guys set up. Oh, come on. Man. That was on there, I tell you what. Holy cow. Snap-on for the win. Woo! Let's see if that bottom one comes off any easier. Like I said, with these swivels, you just got to make sure that they're all the way on that bolt, or else you will cause yourself some headaches. Oh, there was a reason, jeez. Oh, that is on there. Jeez, I got him. They came loose. All right, pop your signal wire off. It's just a little spade connector. I don't know if you guys can see that, but just a standard spade connector. Sometimes these get stretched out and you got to take a pair of pliers and kind of bend them back in, but other than that, no issues. Another 12mm. On that power line going to it. New starter should come with a new nut, so we'll go ahead and spin that back on there. Let's get the hard one first. That is all she wrote, guys. So the top one's a short low bolt like that, low guy, but the bottom one is a big long monster. So there's the starter. Old one's out. No, that wasn't even a Honda anyway, so that's probably why it crapped out. So some cheap aftermarket one. So let's put another cheap aftermarket one on it. How about that? All right, guys, going back in. Like I said, top bolt is a little short guy. Bottom one is a big long one. All you have is this connection right here, which is your main battery feed, and then your little spade signal wire, spade connector right there. That's it. I would highly encourage, honestly, anybody, even if you have the most basic set of hand tools, just a little Craftsman kit or something like that, I would encourage you to try stuff like this. You know, I mean, it saves you a bunch of money. I was talking about in my last brake pad video, I mean, if you take your car to the dealer now, I mean, you're spending $400 or $500 per axle, just 2 pads and rotors. I did that. I did the rear pads and rotors on this thing for $120, and realistically about 25 minutes of my time. So it's well worth it. It saves you a bunch of money. If I were to go to Honda and have them replace this, I'm pretty sure it's 2 hours, if I remember right. 2 hours for the starter replacement. Which is, I mean, shop rate right now at Honda is $150 an hour, roughly, somewhere around there. So you're at $300 labor. You're at, I think the starter is about 3 or 4 times, the Honda starter is about 3 or 4 times what an aftermarket Napa one is. I get a pretty decent discount at Napa. I think this was $120 after tax. So yeah, there's a lot of money to be saved, and honestly, I mean, you teach yourself stuff and you learn, and it's pretty gratifying. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I would encourage anybody to at least try it. But let's get this starter back in there. I'll go over this real quick, actually, just because I remember. So there's a shoulder on this starter, this shoulder right here. It has to go in and meet flush with the shoulder on the bell housing. I've seen guys put them in cockeyed and cross thread the bolts and do all kinds of crazy stuff. So yeah, just be cautious of that, I guess. Little short guy on top. Just get it started with your fingers. Do not run it all the way in. Just get it started and that'll hang there. Then you got your big long one, goes on the bottom. Hold your starter so you can see that it's nice and flush. Don't go too crazy with that until you get everything tightened up. That on your bottom one. It should be tight enough. Never a bad idea to check them with the hand ratchet just to make sure they're tight. Nice and snug. There we go. All right, just take your nut off first. I actually don't like the nut setup they use on these with the lock washer and stuff, so I am going to reuse the lock nut. So I'm going to reuse the lock nut off the original starter. Sure, there'll be some guy saying, no, you can't do that, it's gonna come flying off. I think it'll be okay. Be very careful not to cross thread these lugs on the relay, and also it's very easy to over tighten them. So if you are using power tools, tighten these ones up. Be very just nice and snug. Doesn't have to be crazy, or else you'll end up snapping that lug off. So, all right, got the main battery feed on there. Got your little spade connector. I always pull the boot back so I can 100% make sure that it is going on the connection. Then you put your little boot back on there. So that's it for starter. Now you guys can watch me put everything back together pretty much. Battery tray will go back in, battery will go back in, air box, and we'll see if it'll start. Comment below if you think it'll start. some reason people love putting these things on backwards. Honda is actually nice enough to put a crude arrow and a FR for front, so that goes towards the front. I don't know how many of these things I've seen people put on backwards and somehow make it work, and it just, yeah, it's not good. All right guys, let's see if it'll start. All right, she runs. That's great. That's one item off my list. So I'll get this core back to Napa, get the starter core back to Napa, and move on to the next project. So that should make my wife happy. That's good. So I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know again if you like these videos. Yeah, let me know if you like them or if you don't like them. I mean, there's no point in me making these if people don't like them. So thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe. Thanks. So I also have to do a tail light on this thing. I don't know how much interest there'll be in the actual just tail light bulb replacement, but yeah, I'll kind of go over that. So I am replacing, there's an inner one and there's an outer one. I'm actually replacing the outer one. So what you want to do, open this up. There are a screw here and then these little covers. Yep, there we go. Little covers come off. Screw here, screw here. So you can either use a 8mm socket, or they actually have a Phillips head right in the middle also, which is nice. So this is how I get them off. I get these tail housings off. If you take the palm of your hand and kind of hit backwards, kind of hit it backwards. So you're pulling it back and you're pushing it in at the same time. They usually come loose. So these are the sockets that we're replacing, or the sockets that were taken out to replace the bulb. If you spin them counterclockwise, just like any other thing, then your bulb just pops out. So there are dual filament bulbs and single filament bulbs. Make sure you get the right one for whichever bulb you're replacing. There you go. Push it in until it clicks. There's little ears. These little ears on the socket. There's 4 of them. You have to line them up properly with the hole in the housing. So it should sit in there like that, and you spin it down until it clicks, and that's it. Reverse ordered. Stick it back together. Just simple as that. I think at most dealers they might charge 20 bucks, 30 bucks or something like that to replace these, or a lot of them are actually free service. So yeah, this is just kind of something, won't save you a lot of money, but it'll save you some time. You don't have to stop into a dealer or wait in line. You just stop over at a Napa or AutoZone or whatever and get your bulb and pop it in. So a lot of times these little clips break, which they broke, so I'm not worried about it. Doesn't hurt anything. So all right guys, now that's the real end of this video. So I forgot about the tail light, but Yep, should be good to go. Thanks for watching.